UTA marketing does is be able to take the cultural intelligence and access that the broader agency has in representing talent to really allow brands to understand where and how to embed within culture. Because my thesis and our thesis is that the future of marketing and advertising is not interruptive media. It's not interrupting someone's entertainment, it's integrating into someone's entertainment, right? It's becoming a part of the story. And UTA marketing are really specialists in that. And so in acquiring Juve Consulting and becoming the next gen practice, it's a real belief in the pitch historically for UTA marketing has been don't talk about entertainment, talk to entertainment. Become closer to the entertainment ecosystem because it is music, it is film, it is gaming, which where culture lives, where brands want to be. But beyond that, don't just talk about Gen Z, talk to Gen Z. Be closer to the source. Don't talk about culture, talk to culture. And the way that UTA is doing that is not just exclusive within our walls, because we work with folks outside of even UTA for our brand clients. It's about this notion of if you want to be somewhere, you got to talk to the people who are closest to that place.
Joining me at the NYSE Speaker Corner here at Possible is Ziad Ahmed. He is head of Next Gen at UTA Marketing. Ziad, fabulous to have you here. Thanks for joining me.
Fabulous to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So Ziad, tell me, what excites you most about being at Possible this year?
Well, what excites me most about being at Possible this year is last year was my first year here. And we curated one session on Gen Z with the folks here at Possible. And this year, they invited us back to curate 3 sessions. And so there was more content creators, more Gen Zers here, more youthful energy. And that's what my work is all about. Trying to bring more diverse young people to every decision-making table in a universe, right? Embedding more of our perspectives into conversations about the present and about the future because we are grappling with the present and the future. And so what inspires me about being here is the possibility of having more of us here.
Mm-hmm. So now, Ziad, you went from founding a marketing firm as a teen to leading Next Gen at UTA. So tell me about your journey and your inspiration along the way.
Oh, I don't know how much time we have. Look, I'm the best mom in the world, and everything that I am, I owe to her. And everything that I am, I owe to so many people in this room and beyond who've shown me kindness that I did not deserve. And I have been so lucky and so fortunate in so many ways. But long story short, started a nonprofit when I was in 8th grade, built around social equality and social acceptance. And sort of through that, I found myself in rooms that I didn't even know existed. At the White House with industry leaders, with decision makers, where I realized how often young people are being spoken about but not spoken to, and that didn't sit right with me. So my junior year of high school, when I was 16, I started Juve Consulting, a Gen Z marketing agency. And we ended up becoming what Refinery 29 called the largest and most popular Gen Z agency. And I grew that while going to school full time. And then now I'm 26 and I feel it. And sold the business last year to UTA. So we got acquired by United Talent Agency and we became the next gen practice of UTA. Continuing to do our same work, helping clients connect with next generation audiences and getting to do so within a really cool company at the center of culture.
And Ziad, why are creators so important in shaping brand stories today?
Well, I'm going to ask you a question now. Where do you get most of your information?
My information is on my phone. It's on my apps.
Right? It's not just Gen Z. It's all of us.
Absolutely.
The average American is getting the majority of their content from social media.
Oh, yeah.
And a statistic that I think is really important for us to underscore is that 10% of people are making 80% of the content on social media. Who are those 10% of people? Creators. And so if we know the majority of people in this room and in all rooms of all ages are getting their information primarily from one source and place, and 10% of all people are the ones creating for that source and place in terms of what we're all learning and believing and buying therefore, you ought to think that it's really important to invest in that ecosystem, right? This isn't a question of do you want to reach Gen Z? This is a question of do you want to be relevant at all? This is a question of do you want to exist, right? Fundamentally, this is where information, this is where community, this is where commerce lives. So if you want to be relevant or exist at all, it's table stakes, right, at this point. And creators are all of us. Creators are CMOs, creators are influencers, creators are producers, creators are anyone can be it. And that's what makes it so powerful. It's about finding the right partnerships and cultivating the right voices that are authentic to your brand in order to get the most out of it. But I'm really excited that we're democratizing access to who gets to tell stories and that more of us are telling stories creatively.
Mm-hmm. So now, what do brands often get wrong about Gen Z?
What I think brands get wrong about Gen Z is what they get wrong about a lot of communities, which is that people think that they can read a white paper and that's sufficient for conversation and community building, and it's not. You can't just read some data and be like, oh, I know this thing. It's so different to sit across from someone, to have a real conversation. And so often when I talk to marketers and I ask them, when's the last time you talked to a Gen Zer that wasn't your kid and wasn't your employee? Because when you're talking from a place of power, that's very rarely a conversation and more often a lecture. And we learn more often from conversations than lecture. And so what I'm interested in pushing is for brands to realize that they can't just understand us by reading about us. They have to talk to us and build with us. What Gen Z is asking for is to be included in the conversation, not just as a folding chair in the corner, but as a decision maker at the head of the table, really building forward together. And it's when brands are doing that they're really winning.
And finally, Ziad, tell me, how do you see Gen Z shaping the future of marketing?
Look, I think we're seeing Gen Z shape the present of marketing, right? I think that there are plenty of Gen Zers here at Possible. We're grateful to platform a lot of them on stage. I'm grateful to be on stage, right? I think that we are making more folks be more comfortable breaking rules. I think every young generation looks at the world and says, just because things have been this way does not mean they have to stay this way. I think Gen Z uniquely, because of social media, has gotten to allow our disruption to become mainstream instantaneously. It takes one tweet to bring down Fire Festival, right? The idea that just because things have been this way does not mean they have to stay this way translates to everything that we do. Just because we've invested in these areas, just because this is how we've thought about the future of work, does not mean that's how workplaces have to look. Does not mean that's how inventory has to be constructed. Does not mean that's how stories have to be told. And I think Gen Z is saying we get to write new playbooks. Actually, we have to write new playbooks. And I think that's a really exciting evolution. And of course, there's discomfort whenever we veer from the course. But I think it's when we veer from the course that we find entirely new pastures that are a lot greener for all of us. And I'm really excited for us to find those together.
Wow. Well, Ziad, fantastic to talk with you.
A pleasure and a privilege, my friend.
Thank you for joining me at the Speaker's Corner.
Thank you so much for having me.